Looks like we got another clips here at CNN of more outrage and a full panel of it too. Uh, I think I've seen a clip of this, but I haven't seen this clip. I think I've seen like just a few seconds, so we're gonna see what they have to say here.
We're going into dangerous territory here. There is absolutely a difference between freedom of speech and someone heckling and threatening and putting folks' lives in.
Let's rewind the clocks here. If you don't understand the context here by the title, whatever, this was the recent Trump rally where people were calling CNN fake news, CNN sucks, fuck you, and they're trying to invoke like the heckler's veto here, I believe. Uh, Heckling is protected speech to an extent, so you're first of all you're wrong on that. But as long as you're not taking away other people's free speech by shouting like extremely loud for like a minute so that they can't speak, that is not protect speech because you're taking away other people's speech ability to speak. And they weren't really doing that at this rally because you people had seen them were all mic'd up with directional mics that only pick up close to you. So you could still speak into your cameras and do your broadcasts and all that. And yes, these people are heckling because it's a fucking rally. Like, what do you expect? Okay, there's a lot of people in there, and they're going to be chanting and saying stuff. So, I mean, that's just what happens. And they have the right to do that, okay? I believe it's a private venue, too. Yes, the president's a public figure, but I believe the venue is private. I don't know the legal ramifications of that anyway, so if it's a private venue, then they can do whatever the fuck they want. If it's a public venue, they're still within their right of free speech. And no, they weren't making threats, okay? I didn't hear any death threats or any threats of violence, so stop lying.
Danger. I think I saw something on Twitter last night about a protest at Ole Miss years ago during the civil rights movement. And reporters were reporting on the issue. Folks were standing outside, and the mob were heckling the reporters, and it ended in a brawl where a reporter lost his life.
Okay. I'm gonna take your word for that. That's what happened. But if that's the case, again, I don't know what they actually said or what they were heckling. You're not giving a lot of context here, but just because you say something doesn't mean it's violence or it's going to cause violence. And you don't have any control over that. Unless it's a direct incitement of violence. That's not protecting the First Amendment. Okay? There's always the incitement of violence exception. We all know that, okay? But if I just say something like, oh, Michael Bay sucks, or oh, this movie sucks, if I'm saying something that's completely innocuous, or, you know, let's say I'm using hate speech, as you people like say. Like I say, oh, I hate Michael Bay. Well, that doesn't mean I'm telling people to be violent, causing violence. So it's protected speech, as much as you may not like it.
And so these are dangerous times for lots of people, and unfortunately, the media included. And I just wish that the president would take the reins and help dial back this rhetoric.
Oh, come on. I've said this before, it's not the president that's causing this rhetoric, it's you guys. You've destroyed your credibility, you've earned the name fake news, and you do suck. CNN sucks.
Look, this is the type of behavior that happens in authoritarian society.
Oh my god. Yeah, you wanna know what else happens in authoritative societies? They also have breakfast. They also go out and go shopping. Oh my fucking god. Stop making analogies. They're so stupid. This is not authoritarian rhetoric. Trump is not, stripping the freedoms of the press. You idiots. Oh my god. And just calling you guys saying CNN sucks is a normal, criticism. Saying something sucks. Or saying fuck fill in the blank. I mean, this isn't, abnormal or just something that's like crazy or out of the norm. No, you guys suck, and the only thing that's authoritative here is your guys' insistence that there is rules for the press and not rules for the people. Perfect example comes from fucking CNN. Chris Cuomo, who infamously said about the WikiLeaks emails, he says, everything you get from these WikiLeaks emails, you're getting from us. It's different for the media. If you possess these I think he said then if you have these emails, that's illegal or something like that. But he's basically saying that everything you get is from us, and he did say that. And he did say also, it's different for the media. No, it's not. Okay? You guys aren't some protected class or some higher, status citizens. There's no hierarchy here. I just have as much freedom as the press, basically. Anybody can be a journalist, okay? Individuals can access WikiLeaks. Just because the documents are illegally stolen doesn't mean, I have different privileges than the media.
Where leaders and their supporters are pushing down the media, pushing down people who are protesting.
Pushing down, what's your implication there? And I meant rights when I said privileges a second ago, so I want to correct that. But they're pushing you down, not physically, before anybody gets that misconstrued, but because you guys need to be criticized. We're allowed to criticize you. We had the freedom of speech to criticize you as much as you had the freedom of speech to criticize Trump. So get fucked, okay? And I mean that metaphorically, people. I don't mean that you should fuck them. No. I mean that these people deserve to get shit slung back them in the form of criticism.
And this is something that people watch the United States and they say, what is this president, what are their spokespeople doing?
What are you people doing? Trump can't control everything. This isn't his fault. This isn't your fault. And just because you guys can't handle a little bit of criticism, doesn't mean the rest of the world is looking at us like, oh my god, CNN lies, and they're getting, insults thrown at them? Oh my god. Stop with this rest of the world crap, okay?
Are repressing free speech. They are
No, they're not.
repressing the rights of the media.
No, they're not. Stop lying.
It's not only dangerous, it's sending a terrible message to the world.
I don't give a shit what the rest of the world thinks. Okay? Why do you think Trump supporters especially would give a shit what the rest of the world thinks? These are the people who are saying America first. Okay? And just because they're saying CNN sucks and fuck CNN is not suppressing your freedom of press. Fuck. Jim Acosta was still standing there giving a stupid report. Nothing was different. Except you guys and your reaction.
I know when I was the State Department spokesperson,
and you were an idiot when you were doing it.
I had people who were in that briefing room who were from the government of China, the government of Russia, who would yell at me and make absurd claims.
But you don't like it when people do that to you.
Fox News impugned my reputation multiple times.
Yeah, because you look like a fucking moron with some of the shit you said.
You still took questions from them.
We took a couple of waxy on this show, too.
Sure, you still took questions from them.
Yeah. And Trump still takes questions from the press.
Still, served the government. You still are serving the American people, and that's part of your job.
Yes, but just because you don't get it every second of every day doesn't mean that you're taking away your freedom of the press, okay? You guys act like, it's never enough for you people. It's never enough. And Trump has given you guys a lot of press time to ask questions and shit. I remember there was this one CNN reporter that tweeted out, oh, Trump hasn't taken questions about, whatever for months. And he had, it turns out he had, literally asked him questions like the day before at an event. And he was literally there. So these people are lying when they say shit like that. It's just never enough for them because they want more ratings. They want more chances to get you gotcha questions. They want more chances to get Trump, to get footage of him. They want more. Because it's more money, it's more ratings, it's more. And that's all that they're about here.
They went after you last week because you were asking the White House. Went after you last week because you were trying to ask some questions at
a... not exactly.
Pool spray. And then there was this whole thing where they banned you from an event.
Yeah.
And they're allowed to do that, okay? I know people are gonna say this is, crushing the freedom of the press. Well, you gotta understand that not everybody can ask the White House questions. Let's set that premise right here. Not everybody can ask the White House questions. I can't go into a briefing room and ask Sarah Huckabee Sanders questions. I can't go into these little side meetings, I forget what they call them, where they can ask them questions. So does that mean my freedom is getting restricted? Huh? You want to tell me the answer to that one, CNN? Is it because I don't have a fancy CNN badge? Yeah, that's kind of anti-free press, isn't it, CNN? And I didn't read this story close, I'm not gonna lie. But from what I understood, she was shouting questions at her, and they were asking her to leave, and she wouldn't. And she only got banned from one event. It's not like she got her press credentials stripped, like she's acting like. She didn't. She can still go to the White House and has press access. So stop whining.
They're separate situations. They didn't like the questions that I asked the
Nah, not true.
president. They didn't think they were appropriate to ask in front of another world leader, which I did in the Oval Office. That's different when the White House is trying to restrict that speech, trying to restrict you from being able to ask questions of the president. I do think that those supporters last night at that rally in Tampa do have free speech. They can chant whatever
Good.
they would want like that. I also think a lot of people at that rally aren't like that and don't.
At least she's being consistent here, and she's not trying to stereotype all people at the rally. I'll give her some credit.
Won't go and chant things
Most
like
of them are not like that.
Right. A lot of them are decent people who do not feel
Some of them are decent people, I assume.
way about the media. They go home and watch the news at night and all of those things. I do think that is a minority doing that.
But I want to add, though, they weren't saying this in other segments. They act like all Trump supporters are terrible people. Like, they do. Okay, there was a condescension from the media. Like when Van Jones said it was a white lash when Trump won on election night. There is a condescending attitude toward Trump supporters.
But also, I think the reason this is newsworthy and the reason that the White House is having to answer for it is because the president retweeted a video of it happening that his son had tweeted out. So I think that raises the question of, is the president endorsing behavior like this?
He thinks it's funny. Okay, haven't you all heard if you guys been on fucking Twitter ever, where people have to put in their bios, RT or retweets do not equal endorsements? Okay, you're making an assumption here that retweet equals an endorsement. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. But he retweeted because it was fucking funny. They were shouting CNN sucks. Okay? It was hilarious. And CNN does suck. Like, I don't understand why that's such a scary and dangerous thing to say.
Certainly at those rallies, he's the one who calls out the media at the back of the room.
As he should.
Gets everyone to turn around, boo them, hiss
As he should.
them, whatever they do. So I do think that he does play a role in it. I think that's why the White House is being questioned about it. But I do think that there should be free speech, obviously.
Okay, at least you're consistent. But you kind of have to be, given the position you're in. But it doesn't mean you're going to be.
And there's people who are on the left who also get excited,
Yeah.
not to the same degree, and not.
Oh, not to the same degree, you fucking ignorant or deceptive scum. Because haven't you looked at the Antifa violence? Did you fucking see what they did to Berkeley? They burned Berkeley to the ground. When Milo Yiannopoulos went to speak at Berkeley, Antifa burned Berkeley to the ground. Okay? They set it ablaze. They pepper sprayed people. They hit people with bats. There's been other instances where they've been hitting people with bike locks. So don't give me this crap that, oh, the left doesn't get as agitated. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. In fact, I think they get more agitated. They are more emotional. I know it sounds partisan, but left-wingers tend to be more violent. Look at even more recently, where the violence against just Trump supporters in general, the violence against them. You don't see that against left-wingers. You don't. Okay? Tell me a case of Trump supporters, a history of violence by Trump supporters against Clinton supporters. It's not there. There's a history of violence against Trump supporters by Clinton supporters, or Bernie supporters, or whatever, left wing in general. Antifa's a good, example of that. I remember when the Chicago rally that Trump had was shut down because of violence, and there was, violence at that rally. But you guys don't talk about that. Like, oh my God, this is bad. Look at all this violence. No, you blame Trump. You always blame Trump. Always, always, always. You don't take any personal fucking responsibility for these people's actions. You don't tell them you were being violent. This is your responsibility, and you should be punished for it. No, the people at fucking Berkeley, the Antifa that were, harassing and beating up people there were never arrested. There was no arrest. Like, there's only like a few. Like, it's such a double standard.
Not about the same exact things, obviously.
We should point out. I just want to point out a few weeks ago, Shannon Bream from Fox was trying to do a live shot outside the Supreme
I'm glad you're mentioning this.
Court, and she felt, I wasn't there, I didn't witness it, it wasn't on camera as far as I know, but she felt like it wasn't safe for her to stay there, and she went indoors, and that was obviously progressives, liberals heckling her. The
Yeah, but it was a little bit of a different case.
problem is that it doesn't end. It just keeps descending and it gets worse and worse and worse. And that's why you need a president or a White House to say, we don't support that. Reporters should be able to do their jobs.
Yes, you can do your job. You still can do your fucking job. Okay? That hasn't changed. Just because they say CNN sucks doesn't mean you can't do your job. Stop that already. And the thing with Shannon Bream, I forget where she was at, and I don't even know what people were saying to her, but it's a completely different case from what I remember. Again, I'd have to look it up. Don't hold my word to that, but they're comparing two uncomparable things here.
We need leaders in general to do that. You know, we hear, and look, I've made no secret, I'm not a fan of this, right? I've spent my entire career working with the press, and I believe that there is a very important function to be played. As many times as I've taken calls from folks and not liked the questions, I still think it's important. All that being said, I think we talk too much about it, because I think that the
Yes, you do.
common decency piece of this has less to do with the press and more to do with everything. I've had, you know, you mentioned my former boss, Senator McConnell. I don't think he's had lunch in 3 weeks without being heckled by a crowd of anti-ICE protesters who are...
Glad this guy's mentioning this, because these hacks aren't. Yeah. How about we talk about time that when he was trying to get out of his house and they were heckling him about the child separation things, and Elaine Chao had to come out and like give him, you know, shit for it, you know? Just kind of a pussy move by McConnell, I'm not gonna lie. Like, you sent his wife out there to do that? Like, dude, grow a pair. But, again, nobody's talking about the harassment of Trump supporters. Like, there was a bar, I remember, in Chicago that banned people with MAGA hats. And it's like, you know, obviously I'm gonna say a business can do whatever the fuck they want, but let's remember that this doesn't happen on the other side.
Trying to disrupt his lunch and everybody else there, and trying to bully people and trying to get people basically intimidated.
Yeah.
And like, that is just, there is no place in a society that is built on the rule of law, on respect of others. And does the president have a role in that? Absolutely.
Yeah, and how about the rest of the country? We gotta start enforcing these fucking laws. Berkeley's a perfect example. You're not allowed to burn down fucking campus. You're not allowed to march in the streets and hit people over the head with bike locks. Okay, these rules are not being enforced. But when they did get enforced, when there was a mask ban put in place in Berkeley when Ben Shapiro came to speak, you didn't see any more Antifa. It was pretty nonviolent. It's amazing what can happen when you let the police do their job.
But so does everybody else.
Can I just say something? Because Josh just, so one, I'd like to point out when I said that there's a difference between freedom of speech and folks threatening the lives of other folks and heckling them. Not to say that they don't have freedom of speech, but, you know, people are free to say whatever they want, but not without
Oh, look how she's turned on a dime.
consequence. If folks were yelling the N-word,
Yes, there are consequences. I get that, but you still have the freedom of speech to say certain things.
in that crowd, or slurs about LGBTQ plus people, I think
Well, you just had to put the plus in there. Oh, I just had to. Keeping the door open for more letters.
we would not be defending that in any way, shape, or form, and not that anyone is. But secondly, Josh made a point earlier.
Well, I wouldn't defend, you know, what they're saying, because saying the N-word in a crowd's a terrible thing, of course. But I would defend their right to say, because they are allowed to say these things. I mean, it depends on the context, but you're allowed to say terrible things, and you're allowed to say, you know, things in a crowd. But, you know, there are certain things you can't say. You can't shout fire in a crowd theater. You know, I understand that, but, you know, I'm confused what she's talking about here, and that's why I don't want to make a solid stance, but you're basically allowed to say a lot of things. You have a lot of leniency in what you can shout and say. It's only when it comes to incitement of violence, but when, you know, other things come into play, it's really hard to prove. Like, you know, some of the things she's saying, like prove that there was a violent intent or that created violence or a dangerous environment or whatever.
About the fact that the rules have changed under President Trump. That President Trump, you know, has not necessarily done things the way that they have always been done. And so
Imagine my shock. Keep quoting Paul Joseph Watson, but like, you guys are so shocked by it that he's not playing by the rules. It surprises me.
if the rules have in fact changed, which I do believe they have, I think we have to also get creative and change with the times. So while I don't, you know, again, like I noted on this show, I want to go to Shake Shack and eat my burger without being heckled. But
yeah, and it would also be nice if Sarah Huckabee Sanders could go to Red Hen without being told to leave, and then her family being stalked on the way out. Yeah, it would be nice, but Well, I don't think the left has been too up in arms about those incidents, have they?
Damn it, kids are in cages, and
Oh, I see.
kids are in cages at the border and all over and being ripped away from their families all over this country. And there are many people that feel as though Republicans in Congress haven't done enough about it. And so if Mitch McConnell can't eat in peace, maybe that's the rule. That's the name of the game at this point.
Oh man, I was starting to feel she was gonna go there, but she fucking did. She's saying it's justified. She's saying that. Oh, this is what fucking pisses me off. Oh, you have the right to free speech. Oh, they shouldn't be doing this, honestly. But you know what? There are children cages, so I guess it's okay if Mitch McConnell can't eat lunch. Fuck you. Okay, stop justifying this. It's not acceptable. It doesn't matter. If you guys are, think that there are children cages and that Congress isn't doing enough, that doesn't mean you harass people and bully people. That's not justified. Jesus Christ. Imagine if this was Obama and Republicans were harassing Obama supporters and Obama administration people because of Obamacare. Oh my God, they would be going nuts. I'm sorry, this still pisses me off. And the children cages thing was a fucking lie. It was happening under Obama. And you people weren't fucking outraged, but now you are. Now it's justified to be outraged and to go after Trump people for it. Let's take this another way. Imagine if Republicans were harassing Obama supporters and Obama officials because of the children in cages that happened during the Obama administration. Imagine if that happened. Would CNN be as open to the justification of that? No, they wouldn't be okay with that at all. They wouldn't be okay with that harassment, but now it's okay. I know not all CNN believe this, but I think there's a lot they're quiet about it, to be honest. You can see it in them. Like, she was just more open about it. Give her a little bit of credit. At least she fucking said it. As terrible as it was. But I can't stand that.
What you're doing right now is making the situation worse.
Thank you.
Nobody
She's shocked. You're shocked by that. Jesus Christ.
is suggesting that you shouldn't be passionate about issues. Nobody is suggesting that there are not venues to express your opinion. What I'm suggesting, and I think what I hope most people would agree with, is it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to accost public officials in a public place with their family and try to make things uncomfortable for everybody to a point where they fear for their own safety.
Yep. There you go. I'm glad this guy's on the panel. Like, this is the one thing that's always pissed me off about CNN. This is why I kind of make these videos. Is that there's nobody there to, hold them accountable, offer a different opinion, and to, pull back the mask and show the phonies they are. But this guy's fucking doing it. I'm going to give him a lot of credit for that.
I think we should be able to all agree on that, at a bare minimum.
Good luck.
I think it's clear that Senator McConnell was not being accosted.
You know what? She's quiet now and she fucking takes over. I would have said, no, hold on. She's got to address this. Because you got to hold these people accountable. And you do that through a conversation. Okay, you don't do it through harassment or bullying. You got to fucking tell them straight what you think and get them to own up to it.
In public by your description. I think the point Simone is making.
Did you see the video when he and his wife were coming out of the building and people came up to them and they were trying to get into the car? There was some time.
There's been like four different events.
I think
Yeah, there has been.
People being uncomfortable, that we should be comfortable with that. There's a difference between that and President Trump inciting violence.
Oh my God. He's not inciting violence. When has he done that? Jesus. This is why I hate about CNN. They get away with these things. You can't let them get away with it. You gotta confront them. And I'm not saying physically. I'm saying verbally. You gotta say what I just said, which is, when did Trump say that? He didn't incite violence. Just because he calls CNN fake news, that doesn't incite violence. You fucking moron. This is why you lost your job, okay? This is why you lost your credibility. It's because you're a fucking moron.
This straight. We are deadly concerned about a press bullpen that is protected by Secret Service, about the health and well-being of that press. I am, actually. But as a panel, we've decided that is significant. What's insignificant is a public official having lunch being accosted by people.
First of all,
maybe it's because he's a Republican.
I don't think anyone.
You ding, ding, ding. He got it. Yes, he's making them all lose their shit now.
Just for the record, we covered this when this happened 3 years
Oh, good for you. You finally did cover. You probably covered it for 5 seconds, I bet. And then you spun it as like, well, I guess it's justified because there are children in cages.
4 weeks ago. And
I'm
so
not saying there's a bias against
we don't think that there is, I'm not saying that there is a difference or a distinction. People should be able to live their lives. But I think one of the questions is President Trump's role in this.
Oh, see, here you go again. They spin it. They don't, bring these people to hold themselves responsible. It's always about Trump. Trump, 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 Trump. He's not fucking responsible for that, okay? The harassment of Mitch McConnell is those people's fault 100%. And if you want to actually give anyone blame, if there's anyone you could give blame, which I not necessarily would, it'd be Maxine Waters for encouraging harassment of Trump supporters and Trump administration people because basically the family separations thing. So if you really want to give somebody blame, other than the people responsible, you could give it to Maxine Waters, but not Trump.
I mean, people are going to be unruly left, right, center, but especially left.
Yeah, but there's a big difference right now. The left is way more unhinged than the right.
Right. But
he did mention, I'll give him credit, but you have to remember that these people are way more violent and outraged now. You don't see Trump supporters holding massive rallies where they hit people that have bike locks and they burn campuses to the ground because they don't like the speaker. You do not see that. You don't. You only see it from one side, and we have to call it out, and we have to stop it.
What is the role of a president in that unruliness? Is he responsible to stop it or to tamp things down?
Why does he have to be responsible for everything? That's what I'd like to know. They act like Trump is responsible for literally everything.
The core question, and when you say we're talking about it too much, I just disagree with that. We should be talking about.
Yeah, you guys do talk about it too much. You make it out to be, you make things that of nothing to be like this sensational, like massive thing. You do it all the time. You're doing it with Russia. You guys talk about Russia all the time, 24/7. When there's other things to talk about, they're more important.
Civility in general, we should talk about more, right?
Of course, but look, President Obama was accosted often. I mean, there were people who were protesting him at probably nearly every event.
Yeah, but it's not like this level. They weren't harassing them. They weren't, saying that we should, as this chick on the panel just said, that we should, it's justified that what McConnell got in terms of harassment. You don't see that on the right under Obama, okay? The Tea Party was nothing. If you want to go the most extreme, biggest rise was like the Tea Party. They were nothing like Antifa. They were nothing like these abolish ICE protests.
Public official, that's what happens. I'm not saying we should condone it, but it is something that happens.
Okay, I'm not saying we should condone, but I shouldn't condemn it. I'm not saying we should condemn it either. It just happens.
The President of the United States should be the person who is calling for calm, who is greeting the protesters or greeting people who disagree with him.
Oh my God! Like he can't really greet protests. I mean, that'd be a nice thing. Like I've always said that, like if I was one of these people who's getting heckled, and there was just like one person maybe doing it, I would just try to have a conversation with them. I'd say, okay, let's just sit down, let's talk. Okay, you don't like it, let's talk about it. I'll get you some lunch and we'll talk about it. It's cool, it's fine. And if the person sits down, talks to you, has a conversation, that's a fucking win. Because hopefully somebody will catch that on video and show people that you can calm people down and have a civil conversation. That'd be great. That'd be a good play. And then the other side of it, let's say they don't, and they just walk away and they don't have a conversation with you. Well then, that shows their true colors. They're not there to be constructive or productive or have a conversation. They're just there because they're emotional and they want to vent on their emotions on you. So either way, you win. Honestly, Trump can't do that because he's the president. The Secret Service really wouldn't allow it. Because if you have that person that close to Trump, like they'd probably take a swing at him, So I don't blame Trump for not wanting to talk to these people. So you gotta be practical.
I agree with you. Everything you said I agree with, except as a panel, we have just concluded that it's okay if people accost public officials. That's just the price
Yeah, you.
to being a public official.
I
So
want to
which
be
is
clear
it?
that there's a difference between
I don't think
heckling. I think there's a difference between the president and his supporters inciting violence against reporters
He hasn't done that. Stop lying.
for doing their job and reporting the news.
If only they did that last part, reporting the news.
And I think there is a difference in that, and people who are organizing and protesting and using, the tools at their disposal.
Oh, the tools at their disposal. That's what harassment is. Just the tools at their disposal. Oh yeah, Antifa just use the tools at their disposal, like their bike locks, just lying around to hit people they disagree with. Like that's just the tools at their disposal. Jesus, fuck you, dug yourself a hole and you won't stop digging. I'm sorry, this girl's a moron. She is just, it's terrible. Like, I don't even know why CNN has her on.
It's organizing outside of a member of Congress office or organizing outside of a restaurant to raise issues or to raise their voices on issues that matter.
Oh, that's what they're just raising their voice on the issues that matter. Of course.
We cannot, in my opinion, equate what a lot of the Trump supporters are doing and the president is doing to folks on the left who are concerned about their well-being.
Okay, so half the country's concerned about their well-being, but the other half isn't. I see how it is. I think everybody's concerned about their well-being, and I'm not going to equate it either, because one side's violent and one side isn't. That's just the fucking facts, okay? I don't see Trump supporters inciting violence. I don't see Trump supporters attacking reporters. I don't see Trump supporters attacking leftists. The only thing I see is leftists harassing Trump supporters, harassing Trump administration officials, and in more radical cases like Antifa, actually hurting people and almost killing some people. I've been genuinely surprised Antifa hasn't killed somebody. They're probably too dumb to know how to do it, thankfully. But this is one of those things where it literally is one side is worse than the other. And Republicans are worse in some things than Democrats. Don't get me wrong. And I fucking condemn violence on all sides. I fucking hate it. I hate political violence. I hate violence in general. I hate it, okay? So, I'm not like, saying, oh, my side does it. It's okay. No, it's not okay. When any right-winger does anything violent, it's not okay. And it's not okay when any left-winger does it too, okay? But you people on CNN who think you're objective, think you're so fair, think you're so great, are not being fair. And to be fair, it's really just her, this girl on the right. Like, the other ones are not too bad, but I can sense they're not being entirely consistent. But she is just blatant about it. Like, holy fuck.
It is not ridiculous. It is literally life or death.
That's not ridiculous.
For so many people in
life or death. Jesus Christ. This is peak Trump derangement syndrome. It's not fucking life or death. So hysterical. What has Trump done that's like, made people die or put people in a life or death situation? Oh my god, he's cut taxes. How awful. Oh my god, he's deport MS-13 members, gang members from the country who literally cut people's heads off. Like, that's just, oh man, life or death situations here.
Country.
Just because
so
of
many
what
people
you
in this
feel
country
does not make it
It's
different.
not about what they feel.
Yeah, it's always about feels with her. That's a good point. Everything with her is about, it's just so life or death. It's so terrible what Trump is doing. Oh my god, it just feels so bad. Just because you think it's that way doesn't mean it is that way. They really do think that their reality is everybody's reality and that's how things are. Like I'm obviously I'm not some perfectly unbiased fair person here. I try to be really hard, but I also try to look at other sides and look how other people are experiencing things and seeing if my perception is consistent with reality. Of course, perception is reality. So what are you gonna do? I guess.
Josh, I think you're operating from a position of privilege because you.
Oh shit! Should have seen it coming. Fucking white privilege, here it comes, man. It's always privilege. It's when you disagree with them or when you see things differently, it's privilege. Now, maybe you're just wrong. Maybe you're just being a fucking moron by saying it's okay that Mitch McConnell's being harassed.
Do not leave your house every day in fear.
Yeah, you don't either. You really don't. I think you honestly act like you're more scared than you are, and if you are that scared, you're being irrational. That's an irrational fear, okay? You're I just because he walks, and honestly, I think he doesn't walk out of his house thinking he's safe after what happened to his fucking buddy Mitch McConnell. Like, I'm a Trump supporter. I don't walk out of my house thinking I'm entirely safe. If I put a MAGA hat on, I wouldn't feel safe. I wear it on a college campus, which is terrifying. I'm not trying to sound braggadocious, but it takes a bit of balls to wear a MAGA hat on a college campus. It is scary. Is that a position of privilege? I mean, I'm pretty white, so maybe it is, according to her. 'Cause I know that's what she's gonna get to. Like, let's just wait and see it happen.
There are people that leave their house and there are people that leave their homes every day and wonder if they'll be snatched off the streets and deported.
Oh, that's unprivileged. And that's because you're a fucking criminal, okay? If you're an illegal immigrant, you're a criminal. You did an illegal act, which is coming into the country illegally. Obviously, you're not a murderer or rapist, but you could be. I mean, some of them are. But you should live in fear. You did the wrong thing. You broke the law. Why is that a controversial belief to think that maybe you should live in a bit of fear if you broke the law? If that law is unjust or wrong, you should change it, I guess. But it's not. I mean, we have to have an immigration system so we know who's coming into our country and to vet people so we don't have criminals coming in like MS-13.
Rounded up and deported. There are people.
Your concern for the safety has everything to do with the ideology of the person
There are
who's
people that
holding it.
walk
That's
out
what
of
it
their
is,
homes
Simone.
every day, get in the car and drive, and for fear they'll be pulled over and maybe shot and killed by a police officer.
Oh my god. And you want to know who that would be? It should be white people, because white people are actually shot more by police than black people. But that's an inconvenient statistic. Came out of Harvard, too, I believe. But I don't think people live in that fear, and if they do, it's irrational, because most cops are good people, and as long as you do what they say and you don't do anything stupid, you're not going to get shot. It's extremely rare. Black Lives Matter blew that thing way out of proportion, that blacks getting shot by cops or they're getting assassinated or white cops hate blacks so they're shooting up. No, that's not what's happening. Okay? There's not a lot of racist police out there. There might be some, but it's a small percentage. The odds of you getting in that situation are extremely slim. And if you're going to get pulled over by the cops, it's mostly because you're doing something wrong, okay? So don't do anything wrong. Don't break the law.
Because the altercation might
What does
go
that have
wrong.
to do with the
It has
conversation
to
we're
do with
having?
everything.
Yeah. I mean, I kind of got sidetracked too because I'm trying to debunk all the stupid shit she said, but what does that have to do with anything? Is right.
So people are organizing and rising up because this is what they feel they need to do in this moment.
Feel, here we go again.
That's the last
This
word, and then
ain't
we
the
have to
same
take
thing
a
with folks with the Trump supporters.
I want to give Josh
Okay.
last word, and then we'll take a break.
My whole point is civility doesn't have a partisanship to it. It doesn't. It's a Republican problem, a Democrat problem. We all should speak to it. And
He's being a little bit of a cuck here. It's mostly a Democratic problem.
I think it does a disservice to all of this when we make it a partisan issue.
That's true. It is a disservice when we make it a partisan issue. But Jesus, fuck. God, that girl. She's the worst. How's this not have more downvotes? Maybe it's upvotes for that one guy, but oh my god. It's so bad the comments aren't even loading. We'll check them out. Don't worry. Don't worry. We'll take a look here.
I think we're going into dangerous.
I can't stand this person. My god. Did they put a name or no? They didn't. I was born in Argentina. I grew up in a military government. Dictators are no different to Donald Trump. They used to take children from their mothers. Oh my god. Stop making these comparisons. It's not a comparable thing. Obama did, but you guys call him a dictator. They used to say free speech is terrorism. Trump never said that. I know this very well. Good luck with Donald Trump. I feel sorry for you, for all of you. Next time you use periods, I feel sorry for you for not using them. Oh my god. Yeah, Dems can dish it out, but they can't take it. Very true. Where was all the backlash from lefties when Mad Max called for mobs to harass Trump supporters? Exactly. No, it's always selective outrage. You gotta know that. CNN actually reported on bias instead of being mouthpiece helps their liberal handlers. People respect you. You've lost all credibility. No one's else's fault but yours. Yeah, it's their fault. It really is. They destroyed their own credibility. That's usually what it takes, is yourself. Yeah, liberals talking about freedom of speech. That's the other thing. These are the people that are probably pro hate speech laws and want to restrict hate speech, and yet they're the ones who are like, oh, but my free speech. You guys don't believe in free speech. You really don't. Oh, it's awful. Oh, here's Mark Dice. CNN's a hate group. They really are pretty hateful. Like, they're pretty mean. I wouldn't call them a hate group, but it's just depressing, mean, angry, hateful rhetoric all day. Like, they are never happy on that channel. Oh, I feel sorry for them. It's just a shame. I wish Jim Acosta was on here. He'd fit right in. But we'll probably see him pop up again. Hopefully CNN stops erupting over silliness. But that's the thing of Trump. He is a great troll. He knows how to troll the fuck out of these people, and he's doing it so effectively, and they can't handle it.